Hi everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. Today in this video, I'm going to talk about microservice deployment on the complex challenges we face as a developer because deploying on monolith application and deploying on microservice application is completely two different things. When you are working with microservice, you have to work with so many things, and deploying on microservice application is not easy because you have to write custom CI/CD. You have to dockerize your applications properly. You have to properly maintain the load balancers and so many things. But don't worry, today in this video, I'm going to teaching you everything from scratch. I will show you everything with proper diagram so that you can understand it, that how the thing actually work on industry. At end of the video, we will deploy our previous eShop microservice application to give on practical example. So that's it, don't wasting time. Let's start our video. Alright, so right now you can see me here. And again, I'm telling you that if you didn't follow the eShop web application series, the microservice one, I'm highly recommending you to finish that one at first and then start to watching this video. Then this will be more easier for you to understand what is microservice and how can you write code in microservice architecture. Yeah, right now let's go to our that eShop GitHub repository. So I'm just going to that repository. If you have the source code, then you can also go with me here. If you don't have the source code, you will find out the link in the description box. It's not free, it's paid. You have to pay $40 for getting access in the source code, since I spent around 3-4 months. So I believe I am owed this $40. Yeah, so here you can see it's a beautiful we have a beautiful readme here, which I'm explaining everything about this full project setup, and definitely I'll show you today also that how can you run the project or even deploy it on production. Right now from here, let me go back to the previous commits, that version, which version you are right now, like following from YouTube. I mean, everything same, but for deployment, we just changed few things. Yeah, so this was our previous version. Here you can see that we have actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 services. Yeah, so 14 services we can say. Yeah, right now, let me explain you one important thing. So suppose this is on service, we can add another one, not like this. We can just copy paste it. The size should be same. 1 minute, let me then just draw here like this. Let me copy this, let me add it in here. So suppose for an example, we can say that this is our services, our microservices. For an example, we can say this is auth service. Don't skip this video. If you skip it, you will not understand it. Yeah, so this is auth service, this is suppose product service, this is suppose order service, this is for an example we can say like loggers, and here we can say another one like Kafka service we can say. Yeah, so lot of services here. Now the best way, I mean the easiest way, not the best way, definitely the easiest way of deploying our this application is, just think about it. Here we have 14 services. We can do one thing. We can actually build these services. You can check the package.json from here. You can see if we build our application and if we deploy it on a server, it's going to work. The most easiest way how we actually deploy our monolith application. So let me draw it here and then let me show you what I am explaining here. So all of this we are connecting, right? All of this we are connecting here, and we can deploy it in a server. So we can say like on server. Let's take on server. So suppose this is on server, let's say, okay, and we are deploying it in this server. Very good. We can deploy all of this in this on server. What's we all the time do with monolith deployment, with monolith architecture deployment. By the way, let me show you an interesting thing. I actually I was searching this on Google, that is it true that maximum of big IT company use microservice architecture? You can see the answer here that in 2024, microservice architecture remains a significant force in modern software development. You can see Netflix, they use microservice architecture, and like Apple also use microservice architecture. Google, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, all of these big companies, all of them actually use this microservice architecture. They don't use the monolith architecture. So what is monolith? What is microservice? I explained it in that eShop video, but again I'm explaining here a little bit. Monolith means the traditional way how we actually build on applications, the normal way, like this auth, product, order, loggers, Kafka, everything inside on server, everything inside on project. That's called monolith architecture. But in microservice, everything, every small part of our applications, we are breaking it and we're making it an individual. We're making it an individual service. Okay. For an example, auth service, product service, order, loggers, Kafka. And all of these services, actually, all of these services, we are connecting here. Let me draw here another small actually box. So we can say we are connecting here this everything through this API gateway. So this API gateway actually working as like on proxy, we can say. So all of this we can just add here on simple thing like this. All right, we can say something like this, that all the services, this auth service, product service, order, loggers, and Kafka, everything is going through this API gateway. And we can upload all of these inside this server, inside this VPS, right? We can say this is on EC2. Yeah, that's actually the easiest options. We can say EC2. Yeah, so instead of server image, we can add here EC2. So we are deploying it here, the most easiest options. Then what are the benefits here? The benefit is that, still it's kind of like on monolith when you are deploying everything here. When you are deploying all these services, all of these services in here, it's going to work. And this is called actually monolith deployment. Yeah. But what is then microservice deployment? This is definitely not any microservice deployment when you're deploying everything inside on server. We can say this is monolith deployment. Yeah. And let's talk about microservice right now, microservice deployment. By the way, in this video, I'm going to take you step by step. Okay. I'm not going to showing you microservice deployment at the first time. I'm going to showing you the revelations, like how it started to work from the beginning. Okay. And here we are using microservice, but we are deploying it monolith style. Still, we can do it. It's still good. Don't think that it's bad. It's also good. But what is the problem here? This is very simple. If you are an individual engineer, then deploying inside this microservice and maintaining it, or you have to maintain your servers properly. So when you are an individual engineer, it's very hard for you. When you are individual engineer, you are doing for an MVP, if you're deploying everything in a multiple server, it's very hard for you to maintain everything. So for that case, this way is good. We are deploying everything inside on server. Okay. But the problem actually start to happens here. For an example, we can say YouTube. Okay. So just think about it that, in YouTube or here, no, don't think about YouTube. Let's talk about here. In here, our auth service or product service, order and loggers. So logger service always get more pressure than this product and order service. Very normal. Why? Because in our all services, like in auth services, product services, everywhere we are using these loggers. So it's actually giving more pressure on our server. So for an example, suppose here we are just adding on configurations for our EC2 slide. Suppose 8 GB RAM. We can say that T3 large. I think if you know EC2, T3 large EC2. So here you can see those T series instances here. So T3 learns this one, which two virtual CPU, and memory is 8 GB, and baseline performance is like 30%, and CPU credits aren't like very big on minute. So why I came here, so I was just showing you some instances type. Now here for the T3, or forget T3, we can say 8 GB RAM, and suppose 8 GB RAM, and we can say 12 core CPU. Okay, 12 core CPU. So this is our server configurations. 8 GB RAM and 12 core CPU, no GPU here. So we can use it for our base deployment. Definitely we can use it, but the problem is when we are getting a lot of users, when a lot of users are coming inside our platform, then our services, for an example we can say loggers will be more frequent. So in that case, this 12 core CPU will be not good enough. This 8 GB RAM will be not good enough. Then what can we do? Just notice here, loggers are getting more requests than order, product, auth, or even Kafka, we can say. So only for these loggers, our system can crash, because 12 CPU is not good enough when a lot of users coming here. What can we do? Yeah, I know you will tell me the easiest option is just make it 16 GB and make it more like 40 core CPU, or anything. So very easy options, right? Very easy. We can do it. And this is known as vertical scaling. What this is called? This is called vertical scaling. Why this is called vertical scaling? Because in here we are increasing our server configuration. We are increasing here our server configurations. So suppose this time, suppose we're let's say we have 10,000 daily users. Okay, then we are for an example we are using this server, fine. But when we are having 50,000 users, this 40 core CPU is also not good enough at that moment. Then what we have to do? We have to change it to 80 core, or suppose this is 32 GB RAM or more, right? That's how we have to increase it, and this is called vertical scaling. We are just increasing our server configuration. Okay, but there is a very big problem here. The problem is, just try to understand it clearly. Our logger service getting a lot of pressure, but other service is not getting pressure like that. Why? Only for logger service, or only for one portion of our application, why we will increase our server, right? Doesn't make sense. Just for one service we have to increase it more and more. It's it's logically fine. We can definitely increase our server. We can do vertical scaling, especially for when you are starting your applications, you don't need the another scaling approach, which is called horizontal scaling. What is horizontal scaling? I'm explaining after some time. So here, for starting purpose, definitely vertical scaling is perfect, because you don't have to spend a lot of money when you're starting. But when you're getting a lot of views or lot of visitors on your applications, then vertical scaling is not good enough. We can think YouTube as an example. We have billion, or we can say trillion viewers every day on YouTube, right? So even the highest server, we can say, here we can add here, suppose let's say 128 GB RAM and suppose 96 core CPU. As I know, it's the highest. I really don't know if they're available more than this or not. But definitely there is on limit. There is no unlimited memory or CPU we are getting in a server, right? There is always on limit. But think about YouTube. If they deploy their, suppose we can say the notification service, we can say the YouTube notification service, everyone receive lot of notifications. Everyone receive notifications when anyone any channel we're subscribing, they're uploading a new video, we are getting on notification, right? So at the same time, just think about it. Mr. Beast, he has, I think more than, I don't know how much subscribers, how many subscribers, I think 20 million, 50 millions, doesn't matter. So just let's say 20 million. So when he is uploading a video, 20 million notifications needs to be sent, right? Right, because 20 million subscribers. So this is just for one creator, but think about billion creators, billion creators on YouTube. When they're uploading videos, YouTube have to send notification to the subscribers. So it's a very heavy workload, right? Very complex things. I mean, we cannot do it with even this 128 GB RAM and 96 core CPU. It's not possible. Then what we have to do? Then we have to actually shift our this architecture in a horizontal scaling approach. So what is horizontal scaling? I'm explaining it right now. So let's copy everything here. Everything was fine. Everything is similar here also. But the thing is that here, everything is going through API gateway. Very good. Very good. Everything is fine. But in this monolith, we are deploying everything in this on service, on server, not on service. So here we can say that in here, in this approach, we can deploy our this auth service inside on EC2 server. We can say this auth service. Okay. So auth service we can upload on EC2 instance or server, we can say. Very good. We are uploading right now our EC2 inside on server. And inside this server, we can definitely add on load balancer. What is load balancer? I'm explaining after some time. Now, here we can delete everything. Right now, the API gateway will be also on service. Still, it's a proxy, we everyone know, but that's also on service. Here also on service. For just explaining purpose, I added that here on as an proxy. But ultimately, we're uploading all of this. This Kafka is also on service. This API gateway is also on service. It's not like that Kafka is a different thing, API gateway is a different thing. No, this API gateway, this Kafka, both of them are actually service. And we are uploading all of them in this, our server. But here, everything, not only this auth service, here we can say product. All right, so here you can see all of our services right now, we are deploying in a separate EC2 server. Now, what is the major difference here? Let me explain here. So for the auth service, for the product service, for the order, for the loggers, all the services right now, we deployed them on different server. So for, as I said earlier, the problem was our logger service need more computing power. So here we can say, we can add here, suppose 32 GB RAM and suppose, we can say 40 or 50 core CPU, just for an example, 50 core CPU here. But for our auth service, we don't need probably this much. So we can say, okay, fine, we can change it to suppose 24 GB RAM and suppose 35 core CPU, just for an example. Same here, the product. Same for the product, we probably don't need like this much. So we can say, okay, fine, we can use here 16 GB RAM and 30 core CPU. So same here for the order, we need actually less. We can say 8 GB RAM and suppose 20 core CPU. So we can actually do this interesting thing here. In here, just notice here, let me finish it. Let me just write unpredicted number here. So for Kafka, we need probably more. So we can say 24 GB. And suppose 40 core CPU. Yeah, so this is actually an example. Now here, the problem was that when on of our service is getting extra pressure, for an example, you can say logger service is getting extra pressure, then we had to, what we are actually increasing our this full server configurations, which is doesn't make sense, because all of our services, we don't need this much pressure, right? All of our services, For auth service, probably we don't need this. For product, probably we don't need this, but for loggers, we need this. So that's why here in this microservice deployment style or this approach, we can change our server configuration, right? As per the service need. Yeah, we can configure or we can increase or decrease our server configurations as per the services need. Now, here is an important thing. When we are doing monolith architecture, it's very, very easy. It's actually very easy. Simply, we are increasing it and decreasing it. That's why it's called horizontal scaling. And let me write here that horizontal scaling. Now, this is known as vertical scaling. So let me just copy this and let me write it in here that this is known as vertical scaling. Now, what is the problem of vertical scaling? Sorry, I added opposite. Sorry. Pardon. I added here opposite. It should be horizontal and it should be vertical. Yeah. Now, fine. Now, the problem of horizontal scaling is that here we have so many services and so many server. So definitely at the first time when we're authing here, when we don't have that much users, running 12 server, for an example, we have here 14 services. So running 14 services or 14 server and running on server is not same, right? We can say, okay, fine, 14 services, a lot of services. Okay, we can use this T3, suppose this large one. Okay, then it will cost, I guess, around $50 or $80 per month. Okay, it's just a prediction. But the same thing when you are doing here, even if you use the lowest one, I mean the small server, still running 14 services or 14 server, we can say 14 server is not same as like this one. So for starting purpose, or actually for for an e-commerce applications, we can say for actually e-commerce application, we can start with this type of deployment, this monolith deployment. But later on, when we're getting a lot of user on our platform, lot of users, visitors, then we must have to move to microservice deployment with this horizontal scaling approach. Now, the problem of horizontal scaling is that since we are running a lot of server, we're spinning up a lot of server, we need on proper way to check all the server. It can happen that, all our services, all our server working, but suddenly this product server crashed. It can happen, but we must need something. By using that, we can track it that, yeah, this product server actually crashed. And then we can check it why it crashed and we can fix the problem and we can then we can fix the problem. And at the same time, just think about it. We are just changing here manually, but definitely that's not a solution. You don't know when you are getting a lot of pressure on your server, when you are getting a lot of audience on your website. For an example, just think about YouTube. You cannot predict it when YouTube is getting a lot of viewers, right? No one can predict it. Then how you will change this server configurations, right? Manually, definitely not possible. So for solving this problem, for solving this type of problem, we can use this service called Kubernetes, or we can say K8n. Kubernetes is also known as K8n. So K8n, sorry, here it will not appear here. So Kubernetes. So you can see the logo of the Kubernetes. It's also interesting. It's on sheep, someone driving on sheep. So it's really interesting. The logo is also interesting. Why the logo is like this? Because it works like your deployment brain. It works like your deployment brain. So what I was explaining here, that we cannot predict it, right? We cannot predict when our platform is getting a lot of audience, a lot of pressure. So we cannot change it manually. We cannot change this configuration manually. It can happen that, in our auth services, it's not getting a lot of pressure. It's little bit not that much user creating account. Then we probably don't need this 24 GB. Why we're going to spend waste money? We can just down it to 8 GB and 20 core CPU, right? We can do it, but manually doing it, not possible, right? Manually, we cannot do it. It's very hard. It's impossible, we can say. So for this type of thing, people use Kubernetes. Kubernetes is uses for this type of thing. So Kubernetes actually maintain our all servers. It can check when on server is getting crashed. It can replace it. And by the way, let me explain one thing here which I actually forgot it. So here inside monolith, we can completely I'm not talking about this microservice architecture. I'm talking about monolith. Just we have suppose on server folder, on client folder, and all of your project inside on folder, it's on standalone project, we can say, is like on Next.js applications, for an example, we can say. Then for that type of applications, you don't need Docker. You don't need Docker because that's very simple. You can just write on script for running the application on production. But think about this architecture or this application's structure. It has so many services. Definitely with on command, it's not going to work on production, right? We have to write a lot of code, and it's very complicated to deploy it without Docker. So here, all of these services, this one, actually we have to transfer it, or we have to make on Docker container for all of these services, and we are already doing it in the final version. Let me show you the final version right now. We can see here in all of our services we have on Docker file. You can see we have on Docker file. What it's doing, it's also interesting because Docker, when you're starting Docker, you will think, oh my god, it's very easy. But when you are going to the depth of Docker, slowly you will understand that Docker is huge. There are so many things you have to know when you want to work on productions by using Docker. You cannot do whatever you want. So here, in all of our services, we have on Docker file, and we are building all of our services. Let me show you the Docker desktop applications. And by the way, the prerequisites to start this deployment process, you must need Docker and you must need Node.js in your device. So I guess you already have Node.js. If you don't have Docker, just install it and set up it properly. And the Node.js version, very important, Node.js version. Let me show you my Node.js version. I am using here Node.js version 19.3. So make sure that you are using Node.js which version is more than 20 plus. Okay, not more than 21 or 22 plus, because then those completely latest version and some libraries, for an example, we can say TensorFlow have some problem with the latest Node.js version, like 23, we can say. So version 20, it's a stable version. So I am recommending you, if you're using a different version, then just shift to this 20 version. Okay, this same version, then this will be also more good. Yeah, so here you can see all of our services, the API gateway, Kafka, logger, chatting service, recommendation service, user UI, seller UI, everything. I actually Dockerized everything here. All of them here, you can see this is on Docker image. Now, the size of the Docker image, it's very important and it's very complex things. Why it's very complex thing? Let me explain this slowly, because this is also very important and I guess you don't know this yet. So here, let me do one thing. Let me just drag it a little bit down and let me just search for Docker image, and we can just add the Docker image here. All right, so here we can see we have Docker images or Docker container, we can say, because when we're building on images, the images is running through on Docker container. If you have the basic knowledge of Docker, then you already know about this. Then here, when we are building Docker images, just think about it. All of these services like auth service, product service, order service, logger service, all of them use some common libraries, right? Like this auth service also use Express.js, product service also use Express.js, order service same for API gateway, but for Kafka and loggers, we don't need Express.js. So what we can do when we need on thing for multiple services, we should not use that in every services. I mean, we should not install that in every services. Let me show you the Docker container, then you will understand it a little bit better. And another thing we can also do, and that is the easiest way, which I think when you are starting Docker, most of the developers do this, and that is just copying everything from our project and just running on Docker container. I mean, just building on Docker image. That's not any solutions. That's an, like, very bad practice, because when you will do this, when you will copy everything, your Docker image size will be like 2 GB, 3 GB, or more than that, because you're copying everything which we don't need. You're still copying that. That's a very big problem. But when you are not copying everything, then you have to struggle. You have to struggle a lot, because you have to understand your infrastructure, how you're writing the code, how your services is working. Is your services perfectly standalone or not? Standalone meanings this admin service can run individually. It doesn't need any other services help. When it can work individually, then it's one standalone service. It means that we must need here on package.json, right? We must need here on package.json, and we can build on node modules inside here so that we can deploy this admin service. We can, like, at first we can just build on Docker image for this admin service, and we can just upload that Docker container inside our VPS inside here, right? And we can use Docker with Kubernetes. So Kubernetes will come later. I will explain about this later. So in today's in today's video, in today's project, definitely we're not going to use Kubernetes. Why not? I'll explain that also, but you have to understand it at least, that how the things actually work on IT industry, how the big companies like Google, Facebook, Meta, how they maintain everything. Okay. And by the way, Kubernetes is completely open source, but it's inspired by, actually, I forget the name, Kubernetes. So Kubernetes inspired by what? I forget the name actually. So yeah, it was actually inspired by, Google internal cluster. I know it's actually Borg. Yeah. So it's inspired by Google internal cluster management system called Borg. So it has actually similarities with Google cluster management system called Borg. So you can see how the thing actually works. You can check this image from here also if you want to understand that Kubernetes master is here, and how Kubernetes work. That's more like complex thing. I mean, not complex, that more advanced things, and I will explain that later how Kubernetes work, because at this stage I don't think you need Kubernetes knowledge when you're starting with like microservice deployment at the first or the initial stage, because Kubernetes is a little bit complex. It has some principles. It's not like Docker or our other things. It's a little bit complex, not very complex. You can still learn it, but you should start with the easy thing first. Yeah. Now here, what I was explaining, that we need some libraries for all of our services, right? Express.js need for all of our services. Then what we can do? We can here create on base image. So this is the beauty of Docker. We can create here on, suppose, base image. We can say base image. So base image, inside this base image, inside here we can create, suppose, on Docker file, and inside this Docker file we can include our, suppose, node modules like the Node.js 20, the version. We can use like Node.js 20 Alpine or other version, but Node.js 20 Alpine, that's the popular one and most common used one. If you're using Node.js 20, then we should use this Alpine version. Yeah. So here we can use Node.js first of all. Secondly, Express.js. Then suppose we need actually .env for all of our services. We can keep .env here. We can keep our Prisma here, and everything which we need inside our all common, like inside our all services, the common libraries or the configurations. And then we can use that base image inside here. Then what will happen? Without this base image, just think about it. Our Node.js 20, it's around 200 GB, sorry, not GB, 200 MB when you are using that Node.js 20 Alpine, or yeah, that's the Alpine one, yeah. So when you're using that, it's around 200 MB. So for every image, for every one, for this container, for this one, for this one, for this one, it's actually adding 200 MB extra all the time, right? Not only the Node.js, we are using Express.js, we're using suppose .env and Prisma, Stripe. So all of them, not Stripe for all the services, we need to Stripe for like, few services. But when we need on library for kind of like, 80% services, we can add that in this beige image. Okay, beige Docker image. We can use that beige image for creating our all of these services. Then we can reduce around 200 MB, right? So for an example here, the auth service with Node.js and with everything, it will be around suppose like 400 or 500 MB. But when you are using on beige image, it will be around 40 to 50 MB. It's the beauty of Docker, and it's known as multi-stage builds. So a multi-stage build is actually a Docker feature that allows you to use multiple form statements in a single Docker file. So multiple from meanings, we can use this beige image as like on from. So let me show you actually our Docker file, then you'll understand it more better. You can see, by the way, here I am not using any beige image. I will explain it why I'm not using, okay? But here you can see I'm saying from Node.js 20 or Node 20 Alpine as builder. But instead of this, if we have on beige image, we can mention that beige image name here. Okay, then what would happen? The Node.js will come from that image. We don't have to install it again. Okay, it will come from that previous image or this beige image. So that's the beauty of Docker, and it's known as multi-stage builds. So with this, we can actually make our Docker file smaller, cleaner, and faster. But why do we need even smaller Docker images, right? It's also a good question. So we need smaller because when your Docker images is smaller, when you are deploying it, the CI/CD will be more fast. The CI/CD will be actually more fast. When you're deploying your application, when your Docker image size is smaller, your application will deploy very fast, and at the same time it will take less storage inside your server. Very normal things. When you are like making your image smaller, then it will not take a lot of storage inside your server. So that's why making your Docker image or following on multi-stage build is very important for a microservice architecture. Now after all of this, what I was explaining, that we cannot control everything without on brain, right? Without on script. And the script we can use here, Kubernetes. The Kubernetes will actually like spin up server, or like it will add on more server here. It can happen. The beauty is here for YouTube, I was saying that for YouTube, suppose they have like a lot of creators, like we can say million or billion creators. So when they're uploading video, if they are using this on server, it's not possible to send notification to all of them. Their server will crash. So what they can do, they can actually spin up multiple server. You understand it right now? Here it was the highest limit, right? In vertical scaling, can you again create another server? No, not possible, because then it will add all of this in that server, right? That's not optimal way, right? That's definitely not an optimal way. But here for loggers, if we need a different like more server, we can spin up more server. We can spin up how many server we need, we can spin up that. And when you are actually, the Kubernetes will do it for us. Kubernetes will spin up more server when the user like when there is not a lot of notifications, we don't need the second server, Kubernetes will stop the server. Okay, this is how Kubernetes work. But at this moment, I'm not going to explain it because like this will be a little bit complex for you. But no worries, in the future, in our upcoming YouTube videos, I will make on website deployment service as like this render, we can say. I will make on video on this, that how can we make our own deployment application like a render. And when we'll build it, definitely we must need Kubernetes. We must need all of this which I was explaining here. We need proper load balancer and everything. And I believe you will enjoy that. And I'm also excited to start on project like this, like on deployment system. We can deploy our services into that then, right? Instead of AWS EC2, we can deploy it definitely in our own deployment service. That will be interesting. And that's on upcoming videos on the future. So hit the subscribe button to get notifications at first. Yeah. Right now, I was explaining a lot of things going on here. You probably right now a little bit confused. I mean, I tried my best to explain everything clearly, but this world is very huge. Microservice world is very huge. It's not like the monolith. Here, you need a lot of things. You need load balancers. You need to understand NGINX and so many things. So I was actually like explaining kind of like theoretical thing, but right now it's time to do coding. So let's start to clone our this eShop folder. Okay, if you have the source code, you can like clone it like me. If you don't have the source code, you can purchase it, or if you don't want to purchase it, no worries. I guess when you are following the eShop video, still you have something to follow me. Okay, so if you have the source code, congratulations, you can just copy it. I think copying will not work. You have to click this download zip. Right now, let me just copy it, because for me clone is going to work because I'm the owner of the GitHub repository, but for you cloning will not work because I restricted the cloning options for everyone. Only I can clone it. Yeah, even you can notice that you cannot fork it, which is just for like on security purpose, so that no one can take this source code and sell it instead of me. So yeah, that's it. Right now, let me open my VS Code and let me open eShop. Right now, I'm going to showing you what you have to do to deploy these applications and how can you start the applications right now, because everything completely changed. Right now, our eShop application is different than before because we implemented here Docker and so many more things, which I will explain you one by one right now. So yeah, let's start it. All right, so I already actually do have the project in my laptop. Let me show you. You can see it's the same project. Everything is same, but I already actually added my .env file here and everything is done here. So what you have to do for you, at first, you have to download it. Okay, you have to click this download zip. You have to unzip it. Then you have to go to this root directory. Be make sure that you are in the root directory. Then just write this that pnpm I. Okay, it's very important. We're using here pnpm, not npm. Why? Because we actually need few things which we will not find out inside npm. So that's why we're using here pnpm workspace. For an example, these packages, we cannot use these packages inside npm. So let me show you what is the benefit of using pnpm here. So in here, not actually here in this Docker file, I guess I can show you, or 1 minute. I think admin service, no, auth service. Let me check. All right. Okay, no problem. Okay, no problem. Let me explain why I'm using here pnpm. So because of pnpm, we are getting some extra command. Okay, where in this Docker file, especially in this Docker file, because of pnpm, we can run some extra command which will help us to build our project, okay, or to run this Docker file perfectly. You can see that we're using here, we're installing here pnpm. We're copying the dependencies from dev stage, meaning development stage, and then we are copying the only essential workspace configurations file. What we are doing here, we are actually copying this dist folder for the production one. Okay, we're not copying the everything. That's why our image size is little bit like it's compressed image size. So what you have to do right now, you have to fill up this env file. You have to create an env file and you have to fill these values. You have to add here your database URL, MongoDB database URL, Redis database URI, and everything here. You can see how you will get all of this. For watching this, you have to just click the I button. You'll find out on video link there. In the video, I'm showing it perfectly that from where you will find out all of these env variables value. Okay, so be make sure to check that video. Now when you are adding all of your .env variables value perfectly, one mistake which most of the developers, even I also did, and that is when you are actually working with Docker, you should not use any double quotation. Very, very big mistake. Only for this mistake I spent around 3 days. I mean, I wasted 3 days. I seriously couldn't find out the problem. Then I realized that I cannot add double quotation inside .env when I'm using Docker. I don't know why it was not working. So the URL was something like this, which is normal, that Mongo, suppose MongoDB, not Mongo, I guess it's Mongo something. So you cannot add these double quotations. It must need to be something like this: no double quotation, no space, no space. Okay, no space. It's need to be completely like this. You cannot add any extra space or double quotation inside your .env. It's very, very important. Yeah, right now after this you have to write npx prisma generate. Very, very important step. Very important step. You have to must write this, that npx prisma generate. Right now the next command, which is also very important, and with this command you are going to run our Kafka service. Okay, we have to run our Kafka service right now. So for running the Kafka service, let me see. There is no script here. Okay, it's a mistake of mine. I should have add on script for you so that you can run the Kafka service by yourself by just writing on command. Okay, no problem, I will add it. All right, so here right now you're watching two new scripts. One is Kafka up, another one is Kafka down. So the Kafka up script, you don't have to do anything. You will get the updated script when you are watching it, because definitely I'm going to push it on the GitHub and you are going to get the updated source code. For you, you have to just run this command, that npm run Kafka up. And for the first time, it will definitely take some time to run the Kafka services for you, because it will download the Kafka image for you. You can see here, this is the Kafka image, which is around 1.33 GB. So it's the base image for Kafka, and we actually need this Kafka and Zookeeper. Okay, so we need this two images, and you don't have to do anything. You just have to run this npm run Kafka up, and you have to wait for some time until it's finishing the download, and it's running the Kafka services properly. Then when you are watching this, that running, and from the docs and from the Docker desktop, you're watching that, yeah, it's green in use, in green light, it's showing that in use. Then we are good to go right now. Right now what we have to do, right now we can say npm run dev. And by the way, not only this root.env, we also have .env inside our user UI. You can see this is our user UI .env. You can check the example from here, how the env will be, and you just have to add here your Stripe public key, and then you are good to go. For seller UI, you don't have to do anything. You can just copy this env example and you can paste it in here. Okay, same for actually admin UI. You can just copy the env example and you can paste that in this env. Yep. Then what we have to do for testing the applications, nothing, just npm run dev, and it's going to work for you if you are using the same Node.js version like me, the Node.js 20 version. Okay, so make sure that you are using that same version, which one I was showing you before, which one I was showing you earlier. Just use the same version. Right now here you are watching a lot of things going on, lot of error messages, right? But it's not actually any real error. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but it's not actually any real error. Let me explain you all of this. So these messages, it's actually a warning. Since we're using PNPM, it's just like, giving some warning, and we can completely ignore these warnings. So see, lot of error. I mean, not error, this is just like warning. You can see here that it's saying static inspector 19229 failed because already in use. So all the services use the development tools or developer tools, it's known as, I think it's provided by NGINX. So all the services trying to connect the same port, and we don't need it. So we can skip this warning or this error warning, okay, because it's not going to do any problem with our services. And otherwise here another error, it's not error, you can see this is on warning, not any error, the level is warning. And otherwise you will not find out any new error. And let me show you the interesting thing. Let's go to Google Chrome. Let me go to localhost, suppose 6001. You can see hello API, 6003 our order API, 6002 our order service. Sorry, this is our API get all product. So this is for our product service. 4 is for our order, sorry, seller service. 5 admin service, chatting service, everything is working. Recommendation. Then I don't know what's about 6008, 6009. We don't have 6009. And localhost 8080, our API gateway, that's also working perfectly. So right now what we can do, since our backend is properly working, we can click this like plus icon and we can open a new terminal and we can say npm run user UI. And then what will happen, this will run our user UI. You can see our user UI is right now ready. So we can go to localhost 3000 and the magic is in here. Cool. So you can see it's already here and it's showing me logged in because I'm already logged in. But let me do log out. For you, it will show at first blank. You have to give on reload for the first time. Then it will take you here. You have to create an account when you are coming for the first time, because like, you know, when you are just starting your server, starting everything from scratch, you don't have any account, then you have to create an account from here. When you're creating account, when the account is verified, then you can just do login from here like me. So let me do just let me do login and login done. You can see I'm right now logged in and it's right now showing me suggested products. For you it will probably not show any suggested products, because suggested products will only appear when you have more than 50 products and the user has already more than 50 activity. Okay, then only the recommended product will appears, because it's very normal, without enough data we cannot show any recommended products. It's not possible. Yeah, so that's it. You can see everything is working, every single thing is perfectly working. Yeah, we can go to products, shops, or even offers, or even become a seller, which is not run yet. So we can actually right now run our seller service too. So we can open a new terminal and we can say npm run seller UI. Seller UI is missing. Okay, no worries. Since I updated a lot of things, I forget to add some script. So let me add seller UI here. You don't have to do anything. You will automatically get this. So seller UI. Yeah, now seller UI. It's going to run on 3001. So perfect. Let's go to become seller right now. And here we go. You will see the magic. It's taking some time because we just started our server. That's why. And as we everyone know, Next.js takes some time when we start the server for the first time. So it's showing black. No worries. Give on reload. And here you go. You can see it's right now in the sign up page. But if you have account, then you can click this login. If you don't have account, for you as your first time, you have to create an account from here, name, email, phone number, country, password. Okay, then you have to click sign up, then you have to set up your shop, and finally you have to connect your Stripe account. Okay, so you must need on Stripe testing account for like the seller part. Right now I can click this login from here since I already have an account. So let me just do the login. I guess I'm giving wrong password, or yeah, finally done. But on small error, no worries, not on error, it's actually on of my mistake. So let me fix it quickly. Let me fix it. So seller UI, next config. Yeah, here we have to add images and remote patterns, I guess. I forget it. What is that? And host name. I don't know what I'm doing. I seriously don't know what I'm doing. Okay, no worries, no worries. Let me copy it from the user UI because it's going to be same thing, completely same. So, mm, which file? Which file? This next config. Yeah, images and remote pattern, host name, done. We can come here. We can give on reload. Everything will work now. All right, so right now you can see we are logged in, and this is the shop name, this is the shop avatar, then edit profile and shop all details. We can also edit our shop profile from here if we want, and we can come back to profile and we can go back to dashboard from here. So everything here you can see it's working. Yep, so everything working. So I actually don't want to waste any time because I already created another video of how to run this project locally. But right now, and in that video, I showed everything, the all features. So here, I just don't want to waste time. Right now for admin dashboard, same thing you have to do. You have to just write the npm run admin UI and let me add the script. Then you can use it. So admin UI, when you're writing npm run admin UI, this will run the admin dashboard for you and everything will work properly as we expected. Yeah, so since everything is working right now, let me show you some interesting thing. Let me stop all the servers because our development work is done. It's time to go to production. First of all, why this docker compose production.yml? Here actually we are writing what we will do when, like, when we're deploying it. Okay, it's just our like configurations. Okay, docker file meanings it's like what we will do inside our own specific service, and docker compose meanings it's kind of like we can think about like on CI tool. Okay, like overall what we will do. For that's why we use docker compose, docker compose OML. Okay, this OML file docker compose, and here I'm using production because this is for the production one, and here I am using NGINX. So why we need NGINX? It's actually works like a load balancer first of all, and secondly with the power of NGINX when we are like let me show you the beauty of NGINX. So when I'm going to becodemy.com, why I'm typing here becodemy.com, but the interesting thing is that becodemy.com is definitely not going to work like this. Not only becodemy.com, all the platform which we saw on the like internet. So definitely there is on port, it can be 3000, it can be like 4000 or anything, but we are not writing the port. So with the help of NGINX, it's happening. You can check it from here, the NGINX configurations, at how many connections NGINX can handle. This is like on base, and the HTTP define where your services are running. This is our user UI. So when we are going to localhost 3000, this is the normal one, but when we're using NGINX, we will just type localhost. Interesting, but yeah, this will actually redirect it. Okay, NGINX is working as like on proxy. Simple. Here you can just read this. This is just working as like on proxy. So this is our NGINX configuration. Yeah, very important for deployment. We have to do it manually because in our this setup we're doing everything manually. Nothing is going to happen automatically for us. Okay, which we like see when we're deploying it inside render or Vercel. They do a lot of things for us. They set up the NGINX proxy for us. They do lot of things, but here we are doing everything by ourselves. No one is going to do anything for us. We have to do everything by ourselves. We have complete control over everything. Okay, so you can just read out this docker compose file slowly. We have configured here all the important things. Now another important thing is this scripts folder. It was not there. The scripts folder is a new scripts folder. Now, for the first two files, you don't have to look for that. You can ignore it for now. Let's talk about this local productions.sh file, why I'm using it. So suppose it can happen that you want to test on Docker build, right? It can happen. So I mean, you want to test on production build in development, it can happen. What you can do, you can just write this npm run. Let me show you. Docker prod and service, and you can say, for an example, like a product service. Now let's see what will happen. I guess I added wrong spelling or wrong something. I mean, the flag is wrong, I guess. All right, so it should be actually npm run docker and prod, then double hyphen, again double hyphen, and service. Right now the service name, so you can write here auth service or like, you know, order service or any service. You can just test that is it going to work on production or not, like everything is fine there or not. So you can see right now after pressing that, it's building the image. You can see, let me open the Docker desktop. Here you go. You can notice it that on second ago the order service is here, which is 214 MB, 214.8 MB. Definitely after going to production, when we will upload it inside this Docker Hub, this will be more optimized. Okay, this will be not 214 MB. So let me show you an example. On the production right now, the seller service, sorry, not seller service, order service. On minute, it's showing on the 5. So let me make it 25. Yeah. So order service, let's say this one. Yeah, this is the order service. You can see it's only 68.39 MB, and this is the build cache. We can ignore this one. So it's actually 68.39 MB on the production, but here in the local build, it's around 214.8 MB, which is also good enough. So yeah, right now we can clear it, and you can definitely test all the services like this. Not only order service, you can start from auth, you can start from like auth, then product, then like, you know, you can just test all the services like this. Even the UI services as well, like user UI. When you are noticing that all services is like building properly, everything is working fine, then we can start our next step, and that is deploying our application into production. Right now, I actually updated some code and modified some code because the website is right now live. Let me show you. Let me open actually Google Chrome, and here you go. You can see the website is right now live on shandhane.com. So this is actually on Bengali name, and the meaning of this name is like you were looking for something. Okay, the domain. So the prerequisites for starting the deployment is that you must need on domain. You can purchase any domain, like on cheap domain from sorry, not this one, from namecheap.com. So you can just go to namecheap.com. From here you can purchase any domain. So you can notice that it's crazy cheap, like on $1.48. This is free domain. It's like all plans instead of $448 per month. And you can check domains for .net, .club. .club is just $1.98 for 1 year, very cheap. You don't need .com. You can also use .club or other options which is cheapest for you, or even if you're running for real business, then you can purchase on real domain if you want like the .com one. For me, this is on .com domain, so you must need on domain. You can purchase it from Namecheap or from GoDaddy or from anywhere. Yeah. Right now, the next step is you're noticing a lot of extra thing. For an example, this one, eShop demo key.pem. I will talk about this after some time. And this NGINX configurations, I changed a lot because right now it's the production NGINX configuration. So here you can see I added the domain name here. I will show you everything one by one, what you have to do for yourself. And also if you check our API gateway main.ts, a lot of things right now modified, a lot of things right now changed. You can see we're right now writing logics as per this node env. So if the node env is production, then here our that proxy right now we're using here on simple function called create proxy middleware. Create proxy middleware. So from here you can notice the difference. Here I am adding some logic that we're receiving the service URL and service name from here, and then we are like just checking the proxy request option decorator, and then from here if it's X forwarded for our original host. I'm explaining slowly, and then proxy error handler so that we can like catch any error if there is any error. Now here when we are using the proxy, you can see get service URL. So this is another function, small function, where we are sending the service name and the service port. If it's production, then the service name and port, otherwise localhost and port. I guess you understand it. For production, we cannot use this localhost. Definitely we cannot use localhost. Localhost is not going to work when you are using NGINX. So that's why we have to use here service name for production. Yep. So here you can see we are sending the service name. This is the service name. And this is the port. Right now, here everything is same, that our error handler and handle 404 error and everything is same otherwise. Just this one function we modified here. Right now, you don't have to worry for anything. You have to go to this website called Docker Hub. If you have an account, very good. If you don't have any account, just create an account. So I do have an account, so that's why I'm just clicking this sign in button and I'm clicking continue with Google, and here you go. You can see my login is done. You can see a lot of repositories here which I actually uploading those in this Docker Hub. So you don't have to look anywhere right now. You just have to click this here in this profile icon. You have to click this account settings. From here you have to click I actually forgot it where it was. So yeah, here it is, the personal access token. Now from here you have to click generate new token. You have to give on token descriptions. You can say eShop access token or something like that. And access permission, you can say public repo, not public repo read only. You have to must make it read, write and delete. It's very important. Expiration date, we can make it none, and you can just write on token descriptions and you can click generate. Then you will get on token. Just store it somewhere. We need this after some time. Okay, must store it somewhere. Yeah, so we need actually this token, and secondly this username, your Docker Hub username. This is also very important. So check your Docker Hub username, also store it somewhere for now. So Docker Hub work is done. Right now we have to go to aws.amazon.console. So you can just search AWS and then you can just come here. If you have an account, very good, you can just do login inside your account. If you don't have any account, you must have to create an account from here. So for me, I already do have an account. I'm just doing login in my AWS account. All right, so my login is done right now. So from here, we have to do some work. This is very important. First of all, from here, from the search bar, you have to search for I am. Okay, I am, then just click the first one. Then from here, you have to click this users. And here you can just click this create user, and you can just give on username like eShop deployment or like your name, and then you can click next. So for an example, let me write here eShop deployment and I'm hitting next. Already exists, so eShop deployment 2 I am saying. For you, it will not give this error. Now which group we want to use? So we can say no, we don't want to use any group. We can just click this attach policy directly, or we can actually, this is the best option. Okay, when we are working with on service, a specific service, we should attach policies from here. Okay, but it's actually a little bit complex because you can see we have 1380 policies. You must need to know which policy you have to active, okay, which policy you have to select from here. So the best easiest option is selecting this admin options. It means that you are saying that okay fine, you have access to this 1380 policies, kind of like that. Okay, then you can click next. Right now we can click this create user. Okay, so let me click the create user, and from here let me go to this eShop deployment too. Now most important thing, that is we have to click this security credentials. Now in here in this access keys, we have to click this create access key. Now where we want to use this access key, we can say actually command line interface. Yeah, so we want to use it inside our command line interface. So we can right now click this, that understand the above recommendations and want to proceed to create an access keys. Then after this we can click this next button. Right now we can click this create access key, and you can see we got on access key here and on secret access key. So we have to actually copy this access key, copy this secret key, again store it somewhere. This is your AWS access key, AWS secret key. So make sure to copy paste and store it somewhere because we need all of this after some time. Right now you can click done, and our IAM work is actually done from here, or IAM work is done from here. Right now for me, I will actually delete this user because I don't need this, because I was just showing this to teach you how can you create an IAM user. I already have on eShop deployment, so I'm going to use this one. Yeah, so now our this work is done. Since this is done, right now you can click this AWS logo again. Now from here you have to search for EC2. Okay, from the search bar. If it's not coming here, then you have to go to the EC2. Yep, now we can click these instances. We can click this launch instance. Now this is very important step. Here for the name, you can write anything. You can write eShop, like eShop 1 we can say. But for you, you can just write your application name. Now here for the server or for the operating system, actually we have to select Ubuntu. Okay, make sure to select this one, and this one is fine. Right now here in the instance type, this is very important. So for the T2 micro, free tier eligible, but this instance is not good enough for our work because we are deploying on microservice. Definitely T2 micro is not going to work for us. What then we need? We actually need on T3, not only T3, we need T3x large minimum to run these applications on a VPS. You can see the pricing tier of this. It's actually like Ubuntu Pro base pricing is 0.173 USD per hour. Yeah, so we can right now then calculate it. So 0.1734 on 734 multiply 24. So it's $4.16. So we can say 4.16 multiply suppose 30. So every month you have to spend 1,000, sorry, not 1,000, on $124, or average, on average we can say $130 for this server. This will be your server cost for this on server, for this one instance, on $130. Yeah, right now. And definitely we need this. And by the way, one thing I just want to let you know that AWS pricing is a little bit expensive, and everyone almost know this who work on cloud-based things, that AWS price is little bit expensive. Not little bit expensive, it's really very expensive. If we compare the same thing with DigitalOcean, you will get this same thing with actually less than $100, I guess. And if you use other companies like, let me show you 1 minute. DigitalOcean, they have actually called, I guess, They don't have any instance, but it's known as droplets. Yeah, I forgot the name. Yeah, droplets. So you can check their pricing. It's also good, and but the development experience will be not same, and that's where AWS get more sell, because their developer experience is better than all the other platforms. So which developers are new, they prefer to work with AWS, but who are working for a long time, they will not go with AWS, because AWS pricing is crazy. For a business, AWS is not really good enough. I mean, they're crazy expensive. Now, DigitalOcean is also very popular company, and their pricing is still expensive, but not like AWS. But still, you can check some other platform like this one. It's more cheap, I guess, but it's actually popular for AI related work. You want to run a machine learning model, then you can check their pricing. Runport, it's also very good. It has GPU and so many things, and you can see the pricing is also not, I'm saying cheap, but it's cheap compared to AWS. It's very cheap compared to AWS. Also, you can check some other platform like this one. I forgot the name. 1 minute. It was actually on German company, and it's crazy cheap, but there has some bad review of this company, and it's actually Contabo. Yeah, I just remembered the name. So it's known as Contabo and not known as Contabo. Its name is also Contabo. I can see Contabo. So you can check Contabo is here. Their pricing is crazy level cheap. Not only cheap, just crazy level cheap. You can see with just 4.40 pound, around 5. Okay, with tax, it's around £5 28 cents. It will be around $7 per month, but you can see you are getting 3 vCPU cores, 8 GB RAM, 75 GB storage, and 150 GB SSD. So you can see how cheap this is. Just $7 and you're getting all of this. The same thing you will get around, you have to pay around 80% extra to get the same thing from AWS. But the review of Contabo is not that much good. So for today's video, I'm going to use AWS because that's the easiest one, and most of the beginners prefer to use this one. Alright, so after this, we have to do some more work. Now, the more work is here, the key pair login. This is very, very important. This file, which one I was showing you here, this eShop demo key, it's actually this key pair file. Right now from here, I can definitely select this eShop demo key. Very easy for me, but for you not, because you don't have this one yet. So you have to click this create key pair. Here you have to give on name. You can give the same name like eShop demo key. Now the key pair type RSA, it's good enough, and .pm also good enough. Then you can click this create key pair, and it will create on key pair for you, and you can just download the file like me. And after downloading that, you have to take the file inside here. Okay, you have to copy the file and you have to paste in this root directory, and make sure that you are adding the file name in this gitignore, because you should not upload this file on GitHub. Okay, I already showed you the file value, but no worries, I will delete it after creating the video. Definitely you cannot use this eShop demo key. So here I was talking about the gitignore. Yep, make sure that you are adding this one. Okay, your file name, very, very important. Now after all of this, what we have to do, still we have to do a lot of work, and that is here in this network settings. Now in this network settings, we have to click this edit button, and here you go, we have to click this add security group rule. So we have to click this type, and we have to select HTTP. Protocol will be TCP, port will be 80, and then the next one will be, and by the way, source type, it should be anywhere. Yeah, then we have to click add security group rule again, because we need to add more. Now we have to add our HTTPS, because HTTP is done here. So HTTP port range will be 443. Very good. And source type will be anywhere. So this IP. Now again click add security group rule. Now custom TCP, this one is fine, this type will be custom TCP, but the port range will be 3000 and 3000 and the source type will be again anywhere. Now again click this add security group rule, custom TCP, it's fine. The port range will be 3000 on and source type anywhere. Next one is 3002, so 3002 and source type anywhere. And the next one actually for our 8080 port, which is our API gateway port, and source type will be again anywhere. Now here everything is fine for us, but here configuration storage, it's not good enough. We need at least 30 GB. Okay, so make it 30 GB. And finally everything is done here right now. You can just click this launch instance right now. But for me, since I already have an instance like this with the same configurations, completely same, that's why I'm not again launching a new instance, because definitely it will charge money from me since it's not free. So right now I'm just clicking cancel from here, but for you, you have to just click the launch instance. Now after launching instance, you will see your instance like this with the name, with the instance ID, instance state will be running, and the instance type here, everything is here. Right now you have to just click here. Now you can see this is your public IP. Very, very important. You have to copy this and again copy this and store it in the same file. We need this after sometimes. Let me check some more things. Security, okay, it's fine. Details, everything is fine. For you, it will be actually completely same. Okay. Now, since a lot of work done, right now we have to store all of those env variables inside our GitHub secret key. So you have to right now, first of all, you have to right now come back in this nginx.conf file. Okay, and as I said earlier, we need on domain name. Okay, for me I'm using this shandhane.com. For you, you have to use a new one. Which one? Definitely your domain. And next step, I forgot to do this, it's very, 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 very important. Just go to Namecheap, not Namecheap, from where you purchased your domain. If you purchased it from Namecheap, then you can also go to Namecheap like me. Then from the domain list, you have to select your domain. So this is my domain, and from here we have to click this advanced DNS. But make sure that from the domain here, you are selecting this Namecheap basic DNS. Then you have to go to advanced DNS right now, because otherwise advanced DNS, these options will be not available for you. Yeah. Now here, the A record, you have to add here on A record, which will be value will be host will be at the date, and the value will be this IP address, this public IPv4 address. You can see it's completely same. So you must have to add it similar like this one. Same for admin, same for sellers, and same for www. Everything will be like this. So make sure that you are adding all of this and clicking this save all changes. Okay, so your work is right now done. When you are doing that, then you can add your domain name here. Okay, like this, the domain name, and the sellers.shandhane.com or your domain name, admin.shandhane.com or your domain name. Here, the server name, same, you have to add your domain. So basically you can do one thing, you can search for this name. You can see it's already in 14 places. You can just change all of the name with your domain name and you can replace all of this. Okay, now yeah, everything fine. Otherwise everything fine. Not only that, this one, that's just shandhane.com. You make sure to copy this one also, and it's only in 2 places. So where is the next one? The next one is in here. So make sure to modify it with your own domain name. Now in this docker compose.production.yml, another very important file. And in this environment, okay, user UI environment, not all of this, just user UI environment, because Next.js working system is a little bit different than a Express.js service. Okay, when we are building our applications, we have to add our env variables into that, otherwise it will not work in the production. So that's why here you must have to add your all public variables. You can see I added all of my public variables here, the server URI, the chatting WebSocket URI. So here you have to add your domain name. Okay, same for here. Same for the seller UI, I guess. Yeah, same for seller UI. I didn't add it, but I will definitely add it. Go to your seller UI.env and add all the variables like this. Okay, the space need to be same. I mean, this is actually OML file, so here space also matter. If I start to write from here, you can see it's giving me red because I cannot write it from there. Yeah, so be make sure that you are also adding it in here. Same for this admin UI. Be make sure that you are adding all of your environment variable here with this production value. Okay, now I'm just looking for my Docker Hub username. I guess I didn't add it static anywhere, but still let me check, because if I added it static anywhere, it's a big problem. Okay, let me see if I added my username static anywhere or not. Okay, fine. All are dynamic, so it's a good sign. You don't have to worry for anything then. Now you have to push this code base to GitHub. Okay, the next step is git add, git commit, git push, and just push it inside on GitHub repository. And I guess you know how to do this. So for me, eShop is already here. I already pushed all of the code. Now after pushing the code, the repository will create. Then you have to click this settings. From the settings, from the left side, from the sidebar, the secrets and variables, you have to click this actions. Now here you can see a lot of repository secret. Okay, now start from here, the AWS access key ID. This one is coming from our that EC2 user. Okay, not EC2, that I am user. So the access key ID will be the access key one. Okay, and secret access key will be the secret key. Docker Hub token. So Docker Hub token, it was coming from here. We make sure to create on variable with this name, and the value will be the Docker Hub token value. Same for the username. Now EC2 host. The EC2 host will be this public IP. Okay, the EC2 host will be this public IP. EC2 key name. So key name will be, we have to come back here in our this instance. We have to go to this details, the instance and the details. Then we have to look for our key pair name. Yeah, so this is actually our key pair name. You can see eShop demo key. This is our key pair name. So we can copy that name, and this EC2 key name will be that same name, this eShop demo key. Now for the EC2 private key, this is very, very important. So EC2 private key, you have to come back to our code editor again, and you have to open this eShop demo key.pem, which one we just downloaded some time ago. And be make sure to copy everything, even this begin RSA private key, the everything which we have inside the file. Copy everything without any space, without any new line, and then inside this EC2 private key, just paste that. No space needed, nothing needed, just copy and paste that. Now EC2 security group, very important. The EC2 security group will be COM security. This is our security groups, but we can click here and you can see security group name, this one, and security group ID. So we have to copy this security group ID from here, and the EC2 security group will be this security group ID. Yeah, now subnet ID. this is also important. So subnet ID is these details, and from here you can see the subnet ID is here. You can just copy this and you can add that in this EC2 subnet ID. GACE access token. It's actually GitHub access token. Okay, GitHub access token. So how to get access to GitHub access token? Just click your GitHub account settings. From here, developer settings, personal access token, and token classic. From here, you can click generate new token, new token, fine grained repo scoped. Here we have to add your GitHub account password. Then token name, token descriptions, and expirations. You can just keep it like no expiration. And public repository or only selected repositories, you can select your repositories. Permission, just turn on all the permissions. Okay, it's very, very important. Why we need this? And then we have to click this generate token. So when you are working with on private GitHub repository, if you notice this one, this is on private repository. So that's why you must need on GitHub access token or that secret token actually to clone this repo. Otherwise, you will be not able to clone it. Okay, it's very, very important because we are doing it inside a VPS, inside a different computer. That's why. So after all of this, everything is done. So make sure to add all of those in the variables. Now we can come back to our instance again. We can click this connect button. We can click this SSH client from the top and we can copy our example. After copying the example, here we can paste that. And again, make sure that this file is here. Then after pressing enter, at first you have to write Y for you. Okay, I already logged in here. That's why it's just like doing logged in for me. But for you, it will ask you that, hey, type Y to continue. So you have to type Y. Then it will do login inside our EC2 instance server. Right now we are inside our Ubuntu IP. So you can see this is actually not our laptop anymore. It's inside a new device. We are right now inside a new device. Now here, very, very important step, and that is you have to write git clone and you have to clone your GitHub repository, this one. So if you are making it private repository, which is definitely like recommended because for this type of project, you should not make it public. And then you have to copy this, and after git clone, you can just check it from here that git clone private repo with token. Then you will get the command, or even you can ask it to AI. I forgot it. It was kind of like, I guess, git clone, then username or something, the access token. I mean that secret key, which one we created some time ago, and then the GitHub endpoint like this. Or I guess here it should be that access token. I'm not sure, but you can just check it from the like any AI platform, okay? Or even you can ask it here. So it's a basic thing, or otherwise I'm giving you another like crazy funny tips. That is, you can come this settings. You can make this repo visibility for public just for like, on second. Just make it public. Come here, just paste the git clone and the GitHub repository and enter. Git cloning done. Again, make it private. Okay. So why git clone is important? After cloning the GitHub repository, you will get your eShop project, I mean the folder in here. Very, very important. Now we have to go to inside our eShop folder. Okay. By the way, one thing, I don't know why I created this nginx.config, because we don't need this nginx.config in root directory. I mean, not root, it's before the root. So let me check. Okay, nothing is here. So we can just go out of this. I mistakenly probably created it. So we can say rm minus rf. For you, we have to do nothing because for you, it will be not here. Yeah. Now it's fine. Now let me go to eShop. You can see everything is here. Now the most important step, why I am doing login with our terminal, why we need this. We need this because we are not uploading our .env here, which is definitely recommended. We should not upload our .env file inside GitHub. It's not recommended, not professional. So we have to do login to our EC2 instance like this, and we have to write nano.env. Okay, now press enter, and here you go. You can see this is our env file. Be make sure to add all the env variables here. You have to copy like the all env variables name from your .env, and you have to paste that in here. You can see there are some new env variables here. First of all, admin UI URL, which will be like this, seller UI URL like this, user UI URL like this, EC2 public IP, this time just the domain name. Okay, no HTTPS or no www. Node env must be production. Kafka URL, the Kafka broker, it's very important. It should not be any localhost 9092 anymore, because we're right now on production, so it should be 29092. Then this is our Stripe webhook secret. Definitely after going to production, you can set up a new one. Then image kit, private key, secret key, and everything. Otherwise, everything is same. So that's why I'm not showing you the env variables. Just the last few things we modified and we added these new things, and we need this for production. Now, after writing all of that, you have to press Control O. Okay, enter, then Control X. Done. The root.env file is ready right now. Right now we have to go to cd apps user UI and nano.env. You can see everything is here right now. The server URI, the WebSocket URI, and everything is here. So make sure to copy paste your .env variables like this. Same for seller UI, same for admin UI. So after creating all of these, our code base is ready for production. But still, guess what? What's not done yet? We didn't create any SSL certificate yet, which is very, very important for production, right? SSL certificate is very, very important. So before creating SSL certificate, the must prerequisite is you need to add all of your DNS configurations inside the domain, which we already did. That public IP, this one we already added this public IP inside our Namecheap domain DNS configurations. The domain is right now configured with this DNS. Now, what we can do then? How can we create on SSL certificate? So creating SSL certificate is very easy. We can use an open source. For generating on SSL, we have to write sudo certbot, then cert only standalone backslash, then -d. You actually need space here. Then our domain name, okay, like shandhane.com. Then again on slash like this, then www.shandhane.com. Same again on slash, then -d, then sellers dot our domain. Same again on // then -d, and that admin dot our that domain name, and email. This time very, very important. So this is on flag. So we are saying the email here. You have to write your email. So here I'm just writing my email, and another flag that agree TOS, we can say non-interactive. Okay, so this is the command. You have to right now press enter. So let me press enter. It's saying something wrong, error, unrecognized. It should be something like this. Let me do one thing for you. Let me paste it here. Help dot sh. Okay, so here I am just pasting it. Just write your domain name here. I will push the code to GitHub. You will find out it on GitHub. You can just copy this and you can just change the value as per you need. Okay, then you can just press enter. You can see it's saying me that not yet due for renewal, no action taken, because I already generated SSL for this domain. So that's why it's saying this. But for you, it will create on SSL certificate. Okay, it will create an SSL certificate for you if you are properly configured the domain with this public IPv4 address. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Right now our SSL certificate is also ready. So when SSL certificate ready, everything ready, what you have to do, you have to right now push the code again to GitHub, and this time your build will be success. Okay, but for the first time, let me tell you some beautiful thing about this CI/CD deployment system, that here you can check that we are checking for the updated services or modified services. So when you are just modifying admin service, it will not build the like all 13 services. It will just build the admin service and update the admin service one. Okay, it will not build everything, which is definitely on perfect way or the best CI/CD which we see everywhere. Okay, and when you are not updating anything, it will just like, suppose you are updating these NGINX configurations, then it will not update any, like it will not build any services. It will just update these configurations and build it on production. Okay, now since everything is ready, I can add git commit, and I can say final commit and git push origin master. So when I'm typing this, you can see the CI/CD started from here and final commit. So first of all, it's checking the changes. It's detecting the changes. It's noticed that everything is same, backend, front end same. So that's why it's skipping all of those and just deploying it to EC2. And you can see the deployment is also done pretty fast because we didn't change anything. I didn't change anything, that's why. But for you, for the first time deployment, it will must take 20 to 30 minutes since we have so many services. That's why. Okay, so this was the deployment. After this, if you go to your domain, after a few seconds, not few seconds, I would say a few minutes, after 5 minutes, if you go to the domain, you will see that the domain is here. It's right now live. You can notice it. We can definitely come here. We can log out from here, and let me just do login again. Let me show you that everything is actually working. You can see login is also done. Everything here perfect, how we expected. Even our the inbox, the WebSocket, the chatting system, it's also working perfect, right? So yeah, everything looks clean, clear. Even our seller service is also working. You can see sellers.shandhane.com/sign up. Here you go, the create account, and I don't want to create any account. This is the like the login path. So let me do login inside on shop. I added wrong password, the wrong email. Finally done. but I don't have any product for this shop yet, so that's why it's showing no products available yet. Otherwise everything is done here. You can see it's looking beautiful and everything is done. Same for admin. I can go to admin.chandhane.com. This is the admin like login screen. I can definitely do login as an admin. So the deployment is perfectly done. If you having any problem in the deployment service, just let me know in the comment section. I'll try to my best to give you suggestions that how can you fix the problem. So that's it. This was the video. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned a lot of new things, and I'm promising you that in the future I will create more detailed CI/CD videos, more detailed deployment videos, like we'll build on render clone, so that we can be like more clear with DevOps topics. So that's it. See you in the next video. Till then, take care and bye bye.